Alright, so let me tell you a story about this dog named Lily. When I first met my wife, she had a dog. Surprise, its name was Lily. It was a little white Maltese. And I guess you could say that Lily and I had a very a love-hate kind of relationship, you know? Sometimes I loved her, all the time she hated me, and no matter what happened, unless I was petting her or feeding her or giving her a treat, you know, that was the only time that she loved me. So it was a love-hate. And depending on what was going on, I could manipulate whether or not she loved me. So if I wanted the dog to love me, I would go get it a treat. If I wanted the dog to hate me, I'd leave it in his cage all day long. You know, so there was a love-hate relationship. But that's not true love. True love is not love-hate. True love is unconditional. And so the question for today is, what if true love is unconditional? And just like and going back to the story about Lily and I, the thing about true love is that it is unconditional. God's love for you is unconditional. One of the most famous verses in the Bible, and you probably can quote it with me, is John 3:16. And it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, so that whoever would believe in him would not perish, but have everlasting life." And then John 3:17 says, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that everyone who would believe in him would be saved." So God has, his love is for a purpose. And his love was to accomplish a purpose. And the purpose is to set you free and to save your soul. And so his love for you is not based on your ability to manipulate him. And so there's nothing that you can do to make God love you less. There's nothing that you can do to make God love you more. There's no way that you can manipulate God's love for you. Why? Because God's love for you is unconditional. That's what unconditional love is. It's love that cannot be manipulated. And the reason why is because his love is greater than you. That's why he's able to change you with his love. And that's what's so beautiful about unconditional love. But it's so hard to accept that because in our culture, nothing in our culture is unconditional. Every bit of it has conditions. You'll dress or act or talk a certain way just to get responses out of people. You'll treat people a certain way. You'll do things for people that you would never do just to try to manipulate them into loving you. Or manipulate them out of loving you. But just understand this. God's love for you is unconditional. He loves you 100% all the time. The word says where sin abounds, grace abounds more. Where you make mistakes, God's love is greater. You can never make so many mistakes that God's love would not be greater than your mistakes because his love is unconditional. So I'll ask the question again. What if true love is unconditional?